Hello and welcome to Willow Talk. Thank you again for listening. Sam Ferris here with a very special guest today, Peter Siddle.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Mate, thanks for coming on.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, listened a lot. It's great to be in here in the studio with you boys.
We put a survey out at the start of the year and you were one of the most requested guests to come on. So we're making a lot of fans happy today.
Oh, Hads must have been voting for
Yeah.
me.
Thanks
He was
to the
looking
family
after
for
me.
that.
Well, speaking of Hads, how are you feeling today, Hads?
I'm excited to see Sidds, one of my great mates, but I'm also really nervous.
Yeah, you were speaking off air because a lot of the stories that come up when you're running amok seems
Beg your pardon?
like P. Siddle is your right-hand man for some of those.
Well, I've never given up my right hand man.
Well, we're about to find out.
We are about to find out.
But Sidds, you're talking to us on the eve of the next summer. This will be summer number 20 for you. Isn't that crazy?
And the last.
And the last.
And the last.
This is it?
Definitely the last. Yeah. I think everyone laughs when I say that, especially the boys I probably play with.
Yeah.
But nah, definitely the last. Yeah, I've always sort of been at the point I was very close. And then, yeah, had a couple of games over in England recently where I'm out in the field and I'm thinking, geez, what am I doing out here? Seriously, like I'm in Europe, nice summer, and I'm in England playing cricket and it's raining and it's miserable. And yeah, I was like, I got to get overdone with. But I think that was the time when, yeah, still love bowling. The body's fine, but yeah, the time's right. So looking forward to finishing off.
Well, you're friendly with James Anderson. He went to 41. You're about to hit 40. Mate, you've got plenty of years left in you.
I don't think so. I'm friends with a lot of other people that finished in early 30s, so I think yeah, I'm just very fortunate. I think to be able to have said I've played this long, and
Yeah.
like you said, getting to 40, I think that was sort of a goal, and not a goal, but I was like, it wouldn't be bad to play a professional game as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Still got to get the 40,
Yep.
and still got to get
keep
selected.
playing.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you retire, a lot of people say, "Oh, my body's starting to break down." But to me, it's not your body. It's you get to that moment where there's a wall there, and you just alluded to it on the field where you just go, there's a lot more to life than standing at fine leg or deep point, isn't there?
There is, and I think that's the thing. I think as a bowler too, a lot of like my past teammates and friends have finished up probably more for the injury side of things,
Yeah.
as Hads would attest to there. But yeah, I think the next question is when I say I'm done, is everyone's like, oh, the body no good. It's like the body doesn't have to be broken to want to retire. I think like the other thing Had said was the mind. You've played for a long time, a lot of games, a lot of time and dirt. That time's real grafting, and I think that was. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm standing out here, 150 overs, stuff like that. Like, I still love bowling, but I don't need to be in the field for that long.
But what about the change? What about the change since 20 years ago? You knocked Tendulkar over in your first Test match. But what's the big change you've seen over the last 20 years?
Hell of a lot more cricket. We still played a lot of cricket back then, but there's just so much cricket and even just so many opportunities now. I think as we're seeing, as we're hearing. There's just, you can play wherever you want. Even as us old blokes, Hads has played a couple. I've played a couple of these Masters tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, there's things popping up from any age. You can be 18, or you can be 50s, and still playing in international cricket to an extent in the franchises around the world. So it's quite crazy,
Mate, the funniest moment I've seen in Masters was John Hastings.
I was going to say, you're going to bring up Hasto here.
Oh, that was the best thing I've ever witnessed.
What happened?
He got the yips, and John Hastings,
The yips.
mate, he was
Mr. Consistent.
Oh, mate, he could hit a 10-cent piece, and all of a sudden he bowled a 15 ball over. Then he started to say, "Oh, I can't feel my hand. What do you think you're going to do?" And we're all retired, so he's looked at us and we said, "Mate, we broke into tears. We could not." But he was missing the wicket. I was wicket keeping, but he was missing his mark by 5 metres. You would have seen footage of that.
Yeah, I think when
Mate,
that
it
was
was
going
funny.
around, all the the WhatsApp group chats that you're in and stuff like that. There's always stuff getting fired around,
funny.
and videos and stuff. And funny, the last one we played at recently in England, and we're just there, and then Hasto popped up for a couple of days. He wasn't playing. He was sort of meant to. We're like, you're gonna just have a bowl, mate. Have a bowl, like just in warm up. Just bowl some through, and let's just, He's like, nah, never bowling again, never again. He goes, nah, I've got no interest in it. And it's just like, come on, mate. And he's like, couldn't even bowl in a warm up. No cameras, nothing.
mate.
So, it's it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, we had Dan Christian on here talking about that, and he reckons Binga can still get it down at 125. What do you reckon?
It was actually funny to see because we're all unsure, like how serious is he going to take it and how much prep has he had.
He was the face of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the face of it. He was the face of our team. He was captain, coach, and but yeah, everything was the same. He's strapped up. He had the same shoes on he was wearing 10 years ago, and they kept breaking. I was wondering why they were breaking. They'd been in the garage for 10 years, but he still charged in. The run up still looked the same. Didn't quite come out as fast, but still aggressive. He loved it. He wanted to win and wanted to have a crack, and he bowled quite well actually.
What are you sending him down at these days?
No, not much quicker. Don't worry about that. One day cricket's perfect for that. You can bowl slow balls and change ups. It works all right, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, disguises the average speed, doesn't it? You can
It
those
does.
outliers. You're back with Victoria again. Chris Rogers is the coach. You grew up playing with him. Now he's the coach. How's that dynamic, given all the experience you've had with Bucky?
Yeah, it's a different environment when you're playing with someone or you're playing under someone you've played a lot of cricket with. So it's it's sort of like you rock it up with your mate rather than as a head coach. But he's going well. I think he's got a good group around him. Adam Griff there, his bowling coach, and Benny Rohrer, batting and fielding. So he's got some good support crew and and guys that I've worked with. I pretty much came back to Victoria from Tassie and I rock up and Griffin Rawls are there who came from Tassie and Bucky, one of my good mates that I played a lot of cricket with. So it was like a proper homecoming that. Everyone that involved was someone that I'd had as an acquaintance over the years. So it was good to be back and have them there. But yeah, Bucky, he's a good man to have around and he's coming along as a coach.
Well, what about that though? The move, you're Victorian through and through. If anyone knows the big Victorian quick, you got Merv Hughes, you got Peter Siddle. How was the move to Tassie? Was it a tough one?
Yeah, it was different. But yeah, I think it came at a time in my life where things were changing and things were going on. So it was an opportunity that just sort of popped up, and it was like the timing was it couldn't have been any more perfect with what was happening in my personal life. So yeah, I took that chance, and I was pretty lucky though. Like going down there, I had Matty Wade, who, even though true blue Tasmanian, had played the previous nearly 8 years or 7 years, I think, with Victoria. So I had a close relationship with him. Painey was down there, who I'd played a lot of cricket with and against, and then I had Jacko Bird. So as much as it was a big change, having 3 close mates initially before I even make the move, that made it a lot easier. I think the big thing that I missed most down there was just friends and family. I guess that's what you missed. You go to training all day, and that's fine, good and well. You're around your teammates who are friends and you're close with. Yeah. But you don't want to spend all day with them. I don't want to finish training and go home and be associated with them as well. So that was probably the hardest part, not having the close mates outside of the game down there. But Tasmania is a beautiful state. Hobart is unbelievable. I think it's just turned into a mini Melbourne. So I felt at home other than having the friends there. But from a cricket point of view, it was a great timing, and they've got a great group and great bunch of guys. So it was a hell of a lot of fun. We had a little bit of success, played some good cricket. But when that call first came, to come back to Victoria, I was sort of hadn't really thought too much about how my career was going to finish up, and then that opportunity, it just fitted, and similar again. It's the timing was right to move back to Melbourne and finish at Victoria and be back around friends and family.
You're a senior player, obviously. What are you doing to impart your experience, your knowledge on the younger guys?
I think for me, it's just want to help these young guys as much as I can. I remember coming in, whether it was for Victoria and then Australia, as such a young player, having really senior experienced guys to learn off and just gather information. And I remember as a young kid, I asked a lot of questions. Probably doesn't happen as much these days, so you sort of have to, pass it on and sort of not tell them, but, help them and guide them that way. Played Mickey Lewis, Dirk Nanez, even Shane Harwood around my early years at Victoria. And then Australia, I was blessed with, Brett Lee was still playing. I had Stuart Clark, 2 super experienced guys. Had Mitchell Johnson starting off at that stage. So I had great role models and sort of mentors in those early stages. So I just try and do the same now. If I can help these young guys just a little bit with something, and then seeing them just go out there and play well and enjoy it. I think that's probably what's kept me playing this long, is being able to walk out in the field with those young guys, seeing how much they love it and how they go about it and enjoy it, it gives me that enjoyment to, to play and keep playing. So, yeah, hopefully just impart enough knowledge that one day I can watch them go out and play for Australia and represent their country.
That's an interesting one with the modern day cricket. You watch some of the young quicks run around, mate. Their athleticism is second to none. Is their cricket IQ what these guys were like? Maybe not at the same stage, but is the baggy green still what they're all after? Because there's a lot of cricket now, the franchise cricket. You can be up in lights. You can make a really good living out of it. Is the baggy green still the one?
Yeah, I think so. At this stage. I think there's still enough looking back on the past, as we know. The best players have always been in T20, have always been the best players in all formats. If we go back to, Shane Watson, Mike Hussey, yourself, Hads, like Brett Lee, Mitchell Johnson, they were all the best players in all formats. And I think it's probably, not as many now. You can have white ball specialists, but the good players are still being, Chris Gale played 100 tests. Those type of guys, they've still played a lot of test cricket, a lot of one-day cricket. So that, the desire is still there. But you do see the odd, players starting to come through, like Tim David, a different way to make it to the player he is, and he's representing Australia at the moment. Mainly came from the T20 arena. Jake Fazer McGurk is still thereabouts, but I played him in a Shield game last year and he made a Shield 100 and, was super stoked and loved being able to, make that red ball 100. So I think at the moment it still is.
I agree.
The chats around the change rooms haven't changed any dissimilar. I guess it's just the chat about, like we said at the start, there's a lot of franchises around now, tournaments to play in that, there is a lot more opportunities to go down that route. So I assume at some stage it's going to happen. But people, and I spend a lot of time in England, people still want to represent their country, whether it's Australia or England. They still want to play Test cricket, which is great to hear. Because, I love Test cricket, so I want to see more of it.
And county cricket? You loved it, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I think it obviously suited me, especially during my Test career. I focused a lot on Test cricket and red ball cricket, so for me in the off-season, it was just made sense to go over there and play that. I'd never played enough T20 cricket to really, chase the IPL or chase other tournaments in the off-season. But it got me ready. It got me ready for Test cricket. And I think that's probably what helped my longevity, not only in Test cricket, but also, still playing now is, being so accustomed to playing 4-day cricket, bowling lots of overs. The body was moulded to that type of player. And I did. I loved England. England was great for that. There's no time probably for the training side of things. You just had to keep bustling in and you're in bad form. You just had to keep playing and work it out on the go. And I think, from a bowling point of view and even batting, speaking with batters that have gone through it, playing games and working through it in the match scenario system, it makes you learn pretty quick about your own game and how to develop. And I think it was definitely great help to me over my career.
Having played so much county cricket, what's something that Shield cricket can adopt from county cricket, and maybe the other way around? What are to make a perfect comp? What could they borrow from each other?
I think that they're totally different. I guess the mode of travel and the distance of travel make it hard for us in Australia to do the same as them. You can't really get, flying, even though it's quick and all that type of thing, but there's a lot of, getting the bus to the airport, waiting at airports, flying, like travel times are still pretty much the same. So it's sort of hard to match up those things and play more games because I think if the travel, it's a bit harder for us. There's only 6 teams in Australia too, and that's our season is chockers anyway. So it's a tough one. Like they make it work, but they sort of have to because there is so many teams. Whereas we don't have as many teams, don't have the need to play more games of cricket. So I don't know. Everything's totally different. I think our system's pretty good here now. I think we've got it down pat. The competition in games is quality. I think the 4-day competition, especially, you do have most of the time the best players playing because the test window is outside of that. So not so much the test players, but you're getting the next guys on the cusp of it always playing and preparing to be ready for Test cricket. So
could you tell a difference between Div 1 and Div 2 over there?
Pay packet.
I haven't played much Div 2, so
Oh, okay.
so I actually haven't played any Div 2, so I don't really know, but it's you're playing against the better players.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got the better players. They're chasing different desires too, I think, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you got the big clubs chasing wins. I've been very grateful that I played at a lot of big clubs, so Nottingham, Essex and Somerset for most of my career.
Yep.
They're three of the biggest clubs out there, especially Essex and Somerset, like with contending for wins. And you play at those teams, yeah, there is a different level you chase it, you're harder. And it's, you know, I think it's like playing for Hads, New South Wales or Victoria. Like over the years, you're always playing to win. You're always playing to win wherever you go.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between playing to win for the title or having a good year and being consistent. So, yeah, I think there is a level of difference.
Just Div 1 for Sidds.
Yeah.
But
What I found interesting, you played with Alastair Cook, and mate, he had a great Test career. Was one of the modern day great batsmen, and he continued to play county cricket a few years after he was done, and he's putting out big numbers too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He played for another 3 years. I had him close. I don't know if many people know this. It's never really come out, but had him signed to play at Tassie
Did you?
for start of a summer. Yeah, when I was down there, but
He wouldn't
it
have
was
got
it was
bounced
around
much.
COVID time and stuff like that. So it sort of got a bit hard with family coming out and all the logistics of it all. But it was around an Ashes, and he was going to come out, play a few games, and he was here for the Ashes.
Yeah.
Could have worked in the commentary, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that would have been great because I remember we chatted a lot about it. We played a lot of Test cricket against each other, and then playing as teammates, it was a hell of a lot of fun. Like you go into battle for all those years against each other. And he wasn't a bloke that chatted, so you never really had a lot of banter with him on the field or Sledging, any of that kind of stuff. But just he was a hard cricketer. Then to play alongside him, and you'd sit back in the change room, you just put the arms behind the head and just chill because you're like, this bloke's just going to bat all day.
Yeah.
And he did. He
Yeah.
just kept grinding out runs. He would have averaged 50
Yeah.
in those 3 years, I reckon, with Essex over that time. And the funny thing was, you get the flat ones, and somehow he'd get out cheaply.
Yeah.
But you get on the green seamers, the hard wickets, and he would graft and grind, and he'd nearly average more on the bad wickets than he did on the flat ones. And but yeah, what a man, what a cricketer. Yeah, it was great to actually sit down and play alongside him because we played so much cricket. Yeah,
Jimmy Anderson, you played with him.
yeah, I played a little bit with him earlier on, and then Gazza, our good mate, played a lot this season with him. I played lots of county cricket against him as well. Totally different to what he's like on the in the Test arena.
We all are.
Yeah,
We all are.
you chat to him, have a laugh, and I'm like, this bloke used to sledge me so much.
I've got a question about that later on.
But yeah, so yeah, he was good to play against and good fun and just so bloody skillful. Like, he'd come back and how he'd destroy Test cricket. He didn't let up when he came back to county cricket. There was no coming back on cruising and getting ready for the Test summer.
The greats.
He came back and he just took fifers and he just cleaned up teams, and it was quite amazing to watch, really. He did the same this year. Yep. You got to retire, no worries. You'll get the first Test. Plays his first county game. I think he got 7 for something.
Yep.
Not many. And then the chat's out. Why is he retiring? What's he doing?
Exactly.
So it was. But yeah, lucky enough, played against a lot of some greats over there. Played with some, and yeah, I just loved it. It's a good environment to play.
Tell you what, if you were going to get Alastair Cook to come down, Jimmy Anderson's still got some miles on his legs. Get him to come down and play a season Shield cricket.
Can't at Victoria. He'd probably take my
Well,
spot. So
yeah,
he can go to some other state.
yeah.
If someone else wants him,
Casual
they can
captain.
take him. But yeah, not Victoria, please.
Yeah. Just on that Cook stuff, like how far along the path did it get? It's him playing for Tassie.
Yeah, it was all sorted. It was all sorted. It was all done and dusted. It was kept under wraps because just logistics and just to make sure could he actually get out here or not. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying all this, but
It's all right. You left Tassie anyway.
it doesn't matter anyway. But he didn't come, so it was all sorted. But as we know, COVID was hard.
Yeah.
A lot of quarantines and stuff like that. So sorting it out with the family, he could have done it, but then like the family with the kids coming out, trying to do it as well. Like it was a big effort to the whole thing. So I think in the scheme of things, it was just the too hard basket in the end.
Right.
So
it would have been 20,
so it didn't happen. It would,
21, 22, is that right? Ahead of that Ashes series?
yeah, it must have been around then. Yeah. So yeah, he would have played the first half of the year up until Christmas.
That would have been cool.
Whatever it
That
was.
would have been
Usually
really
5
cool.
or 6 games. Yeah, Shield games, and then do the Ashes, and then he'd head home. But it didn't quite come of it. Always been, yeah. Always tried getting out. Tried getting Simon Harmer out a few times. It just didn't work
yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
Good character, apparently, Simon Harmer.
good man. So yeah, it's who knows.
Does he lead the team song over there? Does he? Because he's South African, right?
Yep.
They do all the songs and stuff. South Africans, they do
Drinking games.
Yeah,
the drinking
games.
games. Yeah. So usually the fines meetings. Yeah, they're good at leading those. So, our local boy now, one of our coaches up in Queensland and Brisbane Heat, Johan Bota. Yeah, he worked with us at Strikers, and he ran a good one time. They know how to run a good meeting.
Yeah, right.
He did the same
which
at
is good.
Sixers.
Yeah.
Did he?
He sort of came in really quiet because he just watches how the environment goes, and we won the first game. And by the time we got there, he was on the table. He had bottles all set out. I'm just thinking, this is a different man than what I've in the past. But he was
fully
good fun.
planned. Yep.
Yeah, very planned.
He was. But no, they're good lads. It's just I don't know. I get along with the South Africans well. I played a lot against them, and then another played with David Bettingham, who's absolutely tearing it up at Durham this year, and he's played a few tests now, and he's another great man. So I mean, like I said, I think the opportunities over in England. I've played with some good cricketers, which has been a lot of fun.
Can we go back to your first Victoria game? We're going all the way back to October 23, 2005. One day at the Wacker. How do you go?
Great date, that 23, 23rd.
You got the batting line up there, have you?
I want you to see if you can, how many you can get of your teammates from that game.
Oh, my teamates?
Yeah.
Jeez. I probably know. I always talk about the opposition batting lineup because it's pretty good.
I know.
So, but teammates, I'd have to go. Well, Hodgie's going to be there.
Yeah.
Mickey Lewis, because I remember I had to walk out and bat with him, and Brad Williams was going at me. I was not a striker's end. Brad Williams was into me. I'm like, I've never met this guy in my life, and he's giving it to me. He's going to kill me. He's going to hit me. And I was just like, geez, I'm only not a striker's end, mate. I haven't even faced the ball yet. So I remember Mickey backing me up there. Who else? Nick Jewell, maybe? No.
We'll run through them. John Moss.
Yeah.
Maxi Klinger.
Yeah.
Hodgie. Dave Hussey. Cam White, the captain
Whitey,
at 5.
yeah. Crossy keeper.
Graham Rummins. Adam Crosswaite. Tim Wellsford.
Yep.
Jared Denton. Lewis and P. Siddle.
There we go.
There you go. And talk about...
I could always remember their lineup.
How about the top 7 for WA?
Yeah.
Gilchrist, Langer, North, Martin, Hussey, Voges.
Not bad, that is it?
Baptism of fire, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, Marto made 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marto made 100.
Did you get a wicket?
I think I caught him. No, I didn't get a wicket. I think I bowled okay. Not too great, but I think I caught him. Yeah, he was about 110. He did it easily.
Oh, yeah. He was one that very, very easy on the eye, Marto.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Brad Williams, he was known for that. Mate, him and Bingy used to go at it massive.
Yeah. And I think he always had that hate because he obviously came from Victoria. I think he hated Victoria once he left, and it was on. But I think he had a bit of bad blood. Him and Mickey were going at each other. I remember that much. But he's crazy, man.
Yeah,
crazy.
Their
man.
eyes went. Mate, I remember Bingy used to bowl at him. He used to run off the wicket, Brad Williams, and Bingy would chase him, and he'd say, "Just go at the stumps." And Binger's eyes are going. You're thinking, he's not even trying to hit the stumps. Mate, Harwood was the same.
Yeah.
Remember that Shield final, one of your first?
Oh, well, Binger and I were talking about that at the recent Masters over in England, and because our story before that was I'm only young, I only played a few games, and before the Shield final against these guys up here in Sydney, the plan was when Binger comes out the bat, we got to try and hurt him. And we're like, why not? We're all crazy. I was a crazy youngster, and we had Mickey Lewis and Shane Harwood, so we're like, no worries, that's a plan. So the worst thing, we bowled first, they batted first. So it's like, no worries, we get a few wickets. I'm bowling, Binger comes out. And they're like, let's go. I'm like, no worries, Oh, this would be great. This is a great idea. Young bloke, I can show him. So running in, we're trying to hit him, we're peppering him, and not much really happened. And he had all the gear on, so it's hard to hurt him anyway.
Yeah.
Hard to hit a moving target too.
And then next minute, so we come out. I think we went okay with the bat, lost a few wickets, and I came out at 8, I think. And straight away, warm up, Binger, let's go, Binger. And then you're looking down there, you got Safi at mid-on, I think Brax at mid-off, mid-on and mid-off, and they're just chirping him. Just can't Binger, these blokes get him. And then you got Hads behind the stumps, getting into us and pup in slip.
No way.
Like everyone, they're all going, they're trying to hurt you. And I'm like, this is... But all I was thinking, I'm like, mate, I've watched this bloke play Test cricket. First ball, in swing and Yorker. Always going to be the case. So I'm set up, man. I'm like, it's going to be his first ball. He's greedy. He wants a wicket. It was a full toss, in swinging, hit my thigh pad before I even moved. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is an absolute joke. So didn't get off the mark. And then next ball, just bouncer. And then, like, I think, boom, hits my glove, straight through the Hads, gone. It was the fastest thing I've ever seen.
Mate.
And I'm like, this is scary. I'm like, I'm out of here. I pack up, I'm gone. And then next minute, I think the next couple of batters, whoever they were, maybe McGain, Harwood would have come in, and Mickey probably. Yeah, but I think we lost about 4 for none.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he ripped us all apart, and and then we were like, yeah, that was a great idea, wasn't it? Yeah, let's stir up Binger. So,
mate, you know what's funny about that game? Binger bowled a $120 to the tail, the top order. He's just swinging beautiful little outswing. It's probably what he bowled in the Veterans League. And soon as it got to the tail, he said, "Give me the ball," and we're sort of going, oh, "Really?" He said, "No, give me." And we went, "Oh, hang on." Marked his run up, did his double leg jump. We thought, "Oh, this is different here." He went after you, but remember Bryce McGain walked in and he thought it was Shane Harwood. So he beelined for him, and Bryce McGain took his helmet off. He goes, "No, it's not Harwood. It's not Harwood." And Binger goes, "I don't care." And he walked past, he said, "I haven't said anything. I'm not involved in any of this."
He's like, "I'm just leg spinner, mate. I didn't bowl any bounces
Poor
to you."
bastard. He went after him too.
But he did. He wanted Harwood.
He
wanted him, and he did. I remember I never wore a chest guard up until that stage. And in warm up, I think everyone's throwing around chest guards. I'm like, yeah, give me one. I want to try one of these things. Try it. Harwood's like, you're weak. You don't need that. And then Binger smacked him in the ribs, and then he didn't bowl. I don't think he bowled in the second innings.
No.
So like joking before the game about you don't need one of them. He gets hit, doesn't bowl. So, but yeah, that was my first encounter with Binger in the early days.
Did he get 90 odd in the second innings? I
Yeah,
think he got something 97.
So Bo Casson.
Yeah.
Might have got 99.
Yeah.
But he went from 125 Ks to 150. And Binger was, what people got to realise with Binger, he was a different pace to everyone. So you have a good day, you could get 150 in your day as well, but he could get 155 and 160. And with the old ball, mate, a lot of the times he'd hit you on the full. And all of a sudden you get hit in the full, your feet are gone. Yeah. You're not watching the ball. You're not thinking about anything. No. Next thing you know,
they're so fast when they Yorkers and anything on the full. Yeah. They're so fast because they don't hit the ground and slow down. Yeah. That was my first encounter live with him, and that was scary stuff.
But that Shield final, you took 9 wickets.
Yep.
And
they declared on me. They declared on me about 7 or 8 down. They didn't give me the chance,
Bugger that. Not letting a kid get 10th, not in the final.
But that catapulted you, because I think your next first-class game, if it wasn't a test, it was a couple of warm-up games. And then you're in Mahali debuting. So it all happened pretty quick. I think it was your 12th first-class game or something like that. You played a test match.
It was, my shoulder was buggered that year. So it was like I did well in the final. I could bowl. I just couldn't throw. So I'm like, I need to get it done. And they're like, "Oh, you sure?" Because I think you guys had a trip to West Indies. That's when you debuted, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So I had a trip to West Indies middle of the year, and then India was the end. And then there was an A series in between in India.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got to get it done. I was only young. I was only 23, I think. And I'm like, I've got a lot of cricket. There's no point, So, and who knows if you're going to get picked. Sure. So there was a lot of talk to them. We can rehab it. We'll do this. But so I ended up getting it done. Couldn't throw. But they took me on the A series, and they're like, "That doesn't matter. We just need to see you bowl. Like, we don't care if you can't throw."
Yeah.
So I go on that just about 6 months later, and I think I bowled okay, but we played a couple of 1-dayers, and maybe I played a 4-dayer in the A series. I don't even know if we'd played the 4-dayers yet. But got the phone call then. You're on the big boys tour. Come home so you can have you can have a week or so at home before you have to go back there for a long time. So I'm like, no worries. So it all came back quick. And then I played the tour match before that series. Which I think was about my 9th game or 10th game. First class cricket, and then debuted in the second test. Safi hurt his elbow in the first test, and we weren't sure. I remember going to training before that second test, sitting there just like not really doing much the day before the game. It's like just like having a look over and how's he going in the net? What's he doing? She's like this spying, And then I remember punter walking over towards me, and I'm thinking, it's either going to be a tap on the shoulder, and don't worry about it, mate. He's fine. And it was a tap on the shoulder. He goes, you better be ready to go tomorrow. I'm like, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
And then yes, went back to the room and pretty much didn't sleep for a night. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a real fast turnaround, but had a lot of legends around me, so
Yeah.
it helped make it a lot easier.
First ball, though,
Yeah.
be straight in the head, and it was game on from there.
First ball I was worried about is being open from the other end. I had the first over and I had the second over, and I was absolutely shitting myself. And I'm thinking, just bowl fast, hit the wicket. Just bowl fast, hit the wicket. And I'm just running and banging, smack Gambier on the side of the head. Back then, they weren't really too as worried about helmets and stuff. And it wasn't until the drinks break that he actually changed his helmet. It had a crack in it.
Really?
But it doesn't make the story as cool. Would have been greater if you had to change the helmet then and all that. But so I had to wait till the drinks break. But it was unbelievable.
Speaking of drinks break, we're going to have a quick one here on Willow Talk. Be right back. Talk about your first Test wicket. Back here on Willow Talk with Peter Siddle. First Test wicket. If you had to map it out, imagine a first Test wicket. Sachin Tendulkar caught first slip by Matthew Hayden. Probably would have been 1A, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely. Probably not when I got it. It was,
82nd over.
I was probably lucky we still had a first slip. Yeah. It was about the 80th over, I reckon.
Yeah,
second 70th
ball.
over. No, it wasn't even that. It was
really?
It was still an old ball.
Yeah.
I might say the 70th over. Like, he was on about 80 odd. But he's definitely a player. Especially once I probably hadn't imagined it was. You dream about playing Test cricket, but you don't dream about, I'll play Test cricket and then I'm getting this player out.
Yeah,
it just happened that. Once one knew it was India, and then it's like, that would be pretty cool. Like their batting lineup's pretty good. Like Tendulkar's good, but then you've got like Laxman, you got Ganguly, you got these type of players playing. You're like, there's some pretty good players. Like your first wicket could be pretty good if I get a chance. I think. But by that stage, I'd played half the day, and I'm thinking, jeez, this wicket's pretty flat.
Yeah.
We're in India, it's hot, and I'm like, am I actually gonna get a wicket? So then you start getting worried. You're like, I might play one test here and not get a wicket. This is going to be horrible. But to end up, get Tendulkar was amazing. And I'd like to say, it was a big edge, and Haydos took it up here in front of his eyes. But I think it was way a real low one, and Haydos had to come forward. He's 6'5" or whatever. He had to lean forward and catch it. So I was probably pretty lucky that it was him that was in there. But amazing. Whitey had debuted the test before. Yeah. And got him out. And got him out as well. So it was amazing just to play Test cricket. But then open the bowling with Brett Lee. Get my hat off Ricky Ponting, open the bowling with Brett Lee, and then get Tendulkar first Test wicket. It was a pretty good way to start your Test cricket.
Not a bad hat trick. You're known for hat tricks. When you came into that Test squad, were you awestruck by any of the guys? Because that team still had plenty of legends and new legends that were coming into the team. But they had Haydos, you had Bingar, you had Ricky Ponting. Was that the first time you met Punter on that tour?
Well, I'd the series when Warney took what's that? Was it the 07 Ashes series?
Yes.
6-7. So when Warney took his 700th, I was the you know how the 12th and 13th, or not the 12th, the 13th and 14th men of the local youngsters.
Yeah.
We're pretty young. So Bobby Quiney and I were helping out Mitchell Johnson that series at the G.
Right.
So I'd been around the group for a Test match. So I'd been around them. It's not like, how you going, mate? You're sitting there, you're having a chat. Like, I was absolutely shitting myself. So,
G'day, Rick. How are you?
Haydos, you're like, Haydos, how you going, mate?
They're intimidating figures.
Yeah, I'd played a couple of one-dayers with Warney, so I at least knew him, who was the king. But like the other guys, I had no idea who they were. It was like, how you going, mate? And they're like, can you just get me a bat? Can you get me a drink here? So how I said I flew back from the A series, they flew me back, and then they're like, you'll meet them in Sydney to fly out. So I'm like, that sounds all right. Wasn't until I thought about that, I'm back home, I pack my bags, I'm getting on the plane to go to Sydney, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know these guys. Like, and these are big boys.
Yeah.
So I remember landing in Sydney, and it's like, go to the never been, business class lounges and all this type of thing. So I'm like, so got my suit on, like looking sharp, and I'm like walking in the lounge. I'm thinking, geez, this is a bit awkward. I don't know these guys now. I love them. So I walk in there, and he's Haydos, and you got Punter and Brett Lee, Hads, Mike Hussey. Oh, mate,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to say. I was like, how you going, boys? This is unbelievable. Like, I was just like a little kid in a candy store. Like, that was just unbelievable. But I was nearly more nervous about that
Yeah.
when I actually debuted. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable. But just, so grateful. Probably more so now that I look back on it, the players I got to play with. And I know Hads had only just started his career, but been around the one-day side a lot
Yeah.
at that stage. But, just being around those guys was just because they're the kings, like that were still playing, and I got to play with, So it's quite a memorable moment that first, walking into the lounge at the Sydney airport.
Mate, it's intimidating. I had the same thing. My first real big Ashes tour was 2005-06, the Massive.
Yeah.
And there was sort of a bit going on the one-day series before. Remember, Simo got trouble against Bangladesh. The bin moved and he tripped him over. So it wasn't Simo's fault. It was the bin move.
Yeah.
But the energy when all the big boys arrived for the test series, like Haydos, Langer, Gillespie, Lee, and he just went, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
What have I walked into? And all of a sudden you go to training. The standard, you think you're training right for state cricket, then the standard go, and you think, I don't know if I'm ready for Test cricket yet. Like, doesn't it? The jump, it's like it's right in front of you. And when they go at each other in the nets, if you go and watch Haydos facing Gillespie or Lee, mate, they're not going, mate, you having a nice day, your family well. It's like, well, hang on a minute. What have I walked into? So it can be quite intimidating.
Definitely.
Which is good.
Yeah, those net sessions, exactly what you said. Haydos and Punter in the nets, Mike Hussey. And then you would have had others, like the ones before that. But those three for me, like I'm in the nets, so that's like it was on.
Yeah.
Like they're like on a session, and then they'd be looking at you, growling. They'd be that like they wanted to get as closer to the arena as they could to like go. And I think Hads will attest to this is the amount of times that Punter would, because he always told people, or most of the time told people when they were dropped. So he a couple of times I've seen him, there was Binger in that Ashes 09 when he wasn't getting selected, so told him a few times. And
Sean Tate, 2005, trying to get picked.
Mitchell Johnson, maybe once somewhere along the line. But he'd be the first guy, because they go in there, that we want to keep bowling. Yeah, no worries. Put the helmet back on.
Yeah.
He'd get in the nets and face him. And Mike Hussey was similar to Binger in that 09 series. And it was on. Like, these boys were literally, they wanted to kill him. And they were, like, you've never seen them bowl as fast. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And, it was on. But, like, it was just, you just watch it and you're like, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
It definitely helped prepare all of us to how to train, but then how he wanted us to go about it.
No wonder he scored so many runs. I mean, he played 168 tests and then probably another 168 in the nets.
Yeah.
But you only have to walk in, and also taught you the standard that you needed to get to train. I remember Tatey went after Langer in the nets. Mate, hit him in the ribs, hit him in the box, and sort of, Alfie threw the ball back at him and said, mate, I'm getting ready for a test. And Tatey goes, F you, I'm getting ready. And he's sort of there going, well, and it was on. Mate, Langer's behind it. Tatey's trying to get picked for a test. But that's how it was. The net sessions were as fierce as anything. But it got you ready for what you're about to walk in, especially for an Ashes campaign.
Yeah.
That's what Michael Jordan used to say, that the trainings were much harder than the games.
Exactly.
He went at them too. I was actually just thinking before, Kobe had 20 seasons. Siddle's got 20 seasons.
Christ, come on, mate.
Just try and compare.
Mate, don't throw basketball stats to him.
Mate, compared to Kobe, I'm like the 15th bloke sitting on the bench. I'm lucky to get 15 seconds compared to the quality that he was.
Well, you've got one similarity now. There's one thing in common between
20
the two guys.
seasons.
That's about the only one too.
So we'll go through a little bit. But you came back after that series, played against South Africa in Australia, took 5 for at the SCG to get 2-1 that series, right? And then you go over to South Africa.
You don't want to ask Hads and I how we celebrated after that match.
I've skipped one then. I was going to go second test in Durban, but we'll get that one.
Yeah.
So how did you celebrate after the SCG in 2009?
Nah, we didn't sleep much. We didn't sleep much.
We didn't sleep till we went to South Africa.
But Hads and I had a lot of great memories together. But on that test match, the greatest thing, obviously the match was great, the finish and all that kind of thing, and my first fifer. But that was the night when we were sitting in the SCG rooms. It was only me, Haydos, and Huss left, and we're just sitting there. And I remember Huss and I were either side of him, And there's like 3 of us about 3 in the morning. We're just there having a drink, and he puts his arm around us and goes, "Boys, this is the last time we'll have a beer together as teammates." And we're like, "Hey," and we're like, "Hang on a minute, what are you on about?" He's like, "Oh, I'm done." And we're like, "Yeah, whatever you think. It's 3 in the morning. We're drunk. Like, we'll leave that." And then we just kept partying. I leave there and ring Hads, and yeah, we keep going. It wasn't until like 2 days later. Like, I think I'd forgotten about what he'd said. Like, I didn't really. You don't really take it.
Yeah.
It's like Tuesday the next week. He's doing a press conference saying, "Oh yeah, I'm retiring." I ring up us. I'm like, he was serious, and us is like, yeah, I didn't think he was serious either. But yeah, and then. Yeah, so little opportunities like that you have throughout.
He didn't take you down to the basement?
I was still down there.
We'd already been down there. We'd been down there. Got the old dunk dunk dunk, the tap on the floor, the tap on the roof, and down we went. But yeah, that was some just memorable times.
Was that the test with the Clark Kadich bust up in the dressing room after that one? Yeah, and they wanted to sing the song on the boat, and he wanted to hurry it up. Do you remember where you were when that happened? Were you in the change room there somewhere?
I was in the change room, yeah. I was right next to
it.
Mate, nothing happened.
No, nothing happened. It was all good.
I just remember the Andrew McDonald line saying, "Happens every day in Victoria."
That's exactly right. It was natural company for
you didn't even realise
for Ronnie and I. No.
Yeah. Mate, he was still concussed. Remember that test? His helmet, Macca's got a massive rock. Yeah. The helmet didn't fit. He got hit. Fucking knocked his helmet
bounced off. Yeah.
Well, let's go to South Africa in 2009. Get the win in the first test, and then you win the second test, and Hughesy does what he does, and then you go missing for a few days. Because it's like the Simpsons scene missing, and then you sort of just maybe from the winning moment until we meant to arrive for the next test. Can you remember what happened?
Yeah, well, we pretty much a bit of backstory. The backstory was we just played South Africa and Australia.
Yep.
They beat us, which hadn't happened in a long time there. They go to number 1 in the world. So then we go back over there. We played back-to-back series, which doesn't happen much. So we go over there, a bit of the underdogs. There's a few changes in our side. There's a few debutants come in. Ronnie was still there, had only played 1 test.
Yep.
But then Northie, Hilf, and Hughesy all debuted in the first test. So a new look lineup, really. And then, we had 2 outstanding first tests and knocked them off. We won the series in the first 2, and it just happened that we had about a week, maybe
11 days.
Yeah.
You don't even remember a week.
Off before the next test match. So, family period. A lot of guys had their family over there, and Hughesy and I were... pretty much, by ourselves for a week. We enjoyed our time. We're in Cape Town, beautiful part of the world. Great beaches, great nightlife,
golf courses,
wineries, all that type of thing. So, I think it was. I can't remember exactly, but Hads could probably tell you that. I had to ask him where the breakfast was in the hotel, and Hads, how many days?
It was day 4. I was walking down with Karina. I just had Zach. And Sidds, I think it was Carpo was with you as well, the trainer, Sidds, Hughes in Carpo. And they go, "Where's breakfast?" And Karina and I sort of looked at him like, "Same place it's been for 4 days, you goose." And Sidds goes, and I'm looking at him, like Karina kept walking, he goes, "We haven't been home for 4 days." I said, the breakfast down there, second on the left, but mate, that was a good celebration.
It was, we celebrated. And I think he obviously... I hadn't played much Test cricket by that stage, and hadn't really won. Like, we won that last Test, but hadn't won a series. So to win a series, we had an unbelievable celebration in Durban. A lot of club sandwiches thrown around. But it was.
But that was one of those nights where all our luggage had got taken. So you'd won the Test series, and mate. And even like Punter got real enthusiastic about, like, he had a really young team. We've knocked South Africa off to go back to number 1. All our gear's gone.
Yeah.
And we're in shorts and T-shirt. We had a drink at the bar, and someone said, "Oh, this other place is open down the road." We got there, no one was there. We didn't care.
Yeah.
About an hour later, it was packed. I remember our media manager doing like a chocolate wheel, and got the shouts. Then I watched him stand on the wall, and he just fell. Like the clock just... And I looked at him, And about 3 minutes later, I picked him up. He goes, "What happened?" I said, "Mate, I don't know." I see he just had one of these shots and just went down.
So it was just an unbelievable series, and Hughes and I obviously made the most of it. Just young kids, we'd won this series. He was obviously on an absolute heater.
I was going to say, how good was that test? Like, you guys had the perfect view of it. Him just putting South Africa to this, and it wasn't just some run-of-the-mill attack. Like, we're talking about some of the greats of the game. He was just smashing.
We're talking
Steyn,
Nintini at the back end.
Yeah.
You got Steyn and Morkel in the early doors. Like it was unbelievable. Callis just doing what he did.
Yeah.
It's still one of the all-time South African attacks. And then just watching him go about it was just like we'd seen him do it in state cricket.
Yeah.
Had's obviously more.
That Shield final.
The Shield final against me. But just watching him go. So we're just two young kids just loving life. We're playing for our country, won a series against the number one team in the world who'd just beaten us in Oz. Like, what more could we want?
Why not celebrate?
So, was that the series you went after Steyn, or was that the next one?
No, that was that one.
Mate, I remember that. Like the first test, like tosses come up, and it's green. Remember?
Stop going after the fastest bowlers in the world.
Well, we didn't know this was about to happen, and it was this at the bull ring. It's quite intimidating where they're over. So toss has gone up as green. We think, we're bowling. Punter goes with bat, and it'll get worse. We went, great decision. We got 400. Then Steyn's come out to bat. Sidds didn't say anything. He's gone around the wicket and gone and laid him on his back. And all of a sudden, he's standing over. We're in slips going, we missed something. We said, look, who cares? Let's get into it. So we're all into it. And the whole crowd went after you, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It was like, because obviously, a lot of hype around Hughesy going in the series about how good he was. And then, punter wins the toss. We go out the bat and this green monster. Not going on what's going on. So Hughesy goes out there and he didn't make many. He might have made a couple of runs or a duck, So that night in the presser, I think Steyn's obviously done well. He's come out and, got stuck in Hughes, this and that. And my little buddy, I'm like, I'm not copping this. And I didn't really think much when I was a young kid. So I just wanted to bowl fast.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how I even thought about doing it, but I was bowling and then the tail came in and it's probably a bit of going back to what I did, like doing it to Binger and who cares, and you're fast and that's what you got to do as a fast bowler because that's what those boys did. And come around the wicket and the boys and then I was bowling fast. I laid him out and I just absolutely gave it to him. And then the boys like, what was that all that? I said, he's not getting into Hughesy. And they're like, oh yeah, fair enough.
We jumped in,
but then that series was on from then. So I'd come.
The tail.
They just started. Everyone just coming around the wicket. So then Steyn's coming around the wicket to me, and then it was on. Like Mitch was bowling rockets. South Africa a little bit of altitude, especially at Joburg. So everyone's bowling fast. Mornay's bowling fast. It was on, but it made for a great series, and it's one of those ones that you don't forget just because one of your first big series wins.
Was that also the series? Or was it the one after where you're getting physio and Alex said, I'll read that and you're looking at something going like that and he's going, Sidds, can you see that? And you go, no. Did you go for an eye test and they said, are you legally allowed to drive in Australia? Is that happened then?
I think it was the next one. It was the next one after that because, I played for a little bit. I think it was, because then I played a few one-day games after that. And I was like, geez, it's actually really hard under these lights to see the ball coming. And at school, I had bad migraines, and it worked out. It was late after school. I had these migraines for years that I needed glasses to read the board.
Yeah.
But I could drive pretty well. I didn't have really any during the day. I didn't have any trouble seeing the ball and stuff like that. But it was a couple of years later, and I couldn't see the ball that well. And I ended up getting tested and got contact straight away.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez, it's nice to bat with these guys. These guys, you see even better. I was like, this is great. But it was it was good.
The fun of
I
touring.
could actually see the ball. Still dropped the catches, but that didn't help me.
I mean, I think you're known as a test player, but you played a fair bit of white ball cricket for Australia too. And that 2009 Champions Trophy, you're a Champions Trophy champion.
Yeah.
You still got the white jacket?
I don't actually know where the white jacket ended up. That was long gone, but that was a cool white jacket.
Yeah.
Nice little blazer to get. That just came out of nowhere. It was after the 09 Ashes, I played one match in that one-day series, and then Brax was struggling with his knee. I think he flew to South Africa.
Yeah.
But now the flight and getting ready wasn't good, and they're like, Sidds, off you go. So
Yeah.
I ended up playing that whole series, and
got
that
the
was a
win.
hell of a lot of fun, that.
Yeah, punter was player of the tournament, but Watto,
Watto,
hundreds in
yeah.
the semi and the final.
Yeah.
We speak about Watto all the time. We love him as a cricketer and as a person, but that was just amazing. It feels like he's still underrated.
Oh,
Not by
he
his teammates.
No,
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like, bat ball in all formats, like I said at the start of the show, like, he's so fucking good. It's just like, as you're saying that, I'm just thinking of, I know it was a bad day for us when we got bowled out for 48 or whatever.
Yeah.
You forget. So everyone goes, oh, Philander, where did that come from? Watto did the same thing to them in the innings just before that. He took 5 for 20 in like 20 balls or 4 overs or something in that match before Philander did it to us. So like, he just did things like, he was so skillful, swing seam. He could bowl fast earlier in his career.
Yeah.
His batting was unbelievable. But yeah, that Champions Trophy, he took England apart in the semi, didn't he?
Yes.
And really got stuck into him. And that was the one where, like, I think Punter made 100 as well that game, didn't he? But Watto took to him, and you just like the things he could do when he really got stuck into teams. It was exciting to watch, and he did it a few times in Test cricket that you just watch and you're like, he's so skillful. It was unbelievable to have as a teammate.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Couple other things, highlights of your career. This one's not so much a highlight, but I Googled Peter Siddle into YouTube, right? Hat trick stuff. Yeah, first 10 videos, of course. But right after that is the 2012 Adelaide Test. And watching it back, I hadn't seen it for a while. You were just so spent after that. How was that final day? Because you got us so close to winning that game. You must have slept well.
I slept very well. So I slept that well. I didn't even play the next test.
Yeah, that's right.
I was cooked. But
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. That's still that match. I think is still the most overs I've ever bowled.
Yeah.
In a first class game, whether state game or test. So it's like 64 overs or something like that. It was unbelievable, and especially when you think about it, because you bowl that many overs, you're like, oh, it was over 5 days. So like, but we batted first.
Yeah.
So like, you cancel out. We batted for a day and probably a day and a little bit. So you already lost a day. So you're bowling those in a really short time then. But yeah, it was just I think Paddo went down first spell in our first innings of bowling. So that was big. Hilf bowled loads of overs as well. But yeah, I look back and you just want to win, and that's all I was thinking. And the game was pretty much nearly done. I came on and bowled a spell, came on to start that last spell, and we probably we could have called it then. I think it was like, oh, we'll have one last crack, and if anything happens, we'll see. And I don't know, it was stupidly in the end because we didn't win. So I took 2 wickets like in the first few overs of bowling. So then it's like, oh no, we're playing to the end now. It's like we could have shook hands. If I'd have bowled maybe 2 overs and nothing happened, we probably would have shook hands.
Yeah.
And then end up bowling, I don't know how many overs. It was probably 4 or 5 more to try and win that test. But yeah, I think you put everything into it, and you feel pretty good when you're bowling it. But I think when you get to the end, you're like, what a waste! Like, we just drawn that like
Ruled you out of punters last
it's
test
just
match.
like you're devastated. So yeah, it did in the end. Yeah, it ruled me out of that, which was a shame. So, but yeah, lucky still. I was still over there for that.
Yeah.
And then, funnily enough, the guy that come in to replace me in that was one of my good mates. Was Hasto in that one, wasn't
Duke,
it? Yeah. Because I missed 2 test matches in Perth, and both guys that played one was against the West Indies. It was Clint Mackay.
Yeah.
2 of my good mates.
Yeah.
And then the next time I missed, it was John Hastings. So so I was it's sad to miss, but see one of your good mates debut, and then obviously be there at least for the starter punter. Finishing up. It was a bit sad not to be out there, but to be able to at least be there to see it.
And although we didn't win that game, that pretty much typified an Australian effort, didn't it? Like, I remember the sentiment around that game just being how proud we were of you guys, but also Sid's just like giving his heart, everything to try and get Australia that win.
Well, I wasn't around the test team at that time. I took some time off, but that was what Sid's was about, no matter what the situation was. And he sort of summed it up a bit then, where you feel it at the end of the test match, but once you've got the ball, you've got your blinkers on. You don't care what you're doing, whether bat, ball, you've got a broken finger, your back's sore. You're saying to the physio, I'll worry about it later. And that's how Sid's played his career and the respect he got from his teammates, because he's rolled up his sleeves and said, mate, give me the ball. I'll do the job. I'll worry about everything later. But I'm just going through your notes here. And there's an interesting one here that'll come up in a minute.
Yeah.
I know you had some good relationships with Brody and Alastair Cook, but mate, I remember the Matt Pryor one where he's saying, mate, he'd come out the back after in an Ashes series, and mate, that was funny. We're asking, what time do you want us to come? But it was that was good fun.
It was, and it was another one of those times where, like the boys, I don't know, like it's just a fast bowling thing, everyone talks about it, and just like that white line fever, and there's just some guys that really
I love it.
You got into, and same thing. It came around the wicket, and I'm just like, I was just getting into this guy, and he was an aggressive player.
Yeah,
so
he was.
Yeah, and we had him on the ropes a bit. Yeah, it was that Perth test, wasn't it? And I just, I was up into him, and then I remember, I think it hit. I got him out. Yeah, it must have hit him on the body, and then it rolled on the stumps, or he hit the stumps, or something like that. And I've given him a big send off, and I'm into him. The boys are right behind me, just giving it to him, and he goes, "Come out! I'll have you out the back in the car park, mate." And then so before he said that, sorry, we're all into him. Punter gives it a shut up, boys, shut up, pull your heads in, shut up. And then he yells that out as punter's trying to quieten us down. He yells that out. So punter's just told us, shut up, be quiet, calm down. He says that. Punter turns around. You'll have to get through me before you get through him, buddy. And then we just all burst out laughing because we're just like, that happens. But then from that, and I don't know whether we had done it just before that, but that was when it was still the Big Bash, state-based Big Bash.
Yeah.
Victoria signed him to play as our overseas player. I can't remember if it was before that or he signed just after that. So then the joke going around was like, how are you two going to play together? But Sakes was with, I think Sakes was with England then, and I was chatting to him about it. He's like, no, you two, once you actually get together, you're actually very similar people. Yeah. And I remember the first bus trip where they just walked in, I sat down beside him on the bus, and we just hit it off.
Yeah.
But that was a funny run in, and like just little things like that you have through the career, like you sort of forget a little bit about, but as soon as you think about like punter, trying to be the good guy, and as soon as someone tries picking on his boys,
toys went out the
he's like, you got to get through me. But that was good times.
What about punter made him such a great leader?
I think just things like that, like just the things that you see him do. Like I remember watching him growing up, and I've watched it on YouTube so many times. He's him playing against Pakistan. He's got the cap on, and I think it was at Muhammad Sami. Muhammad Sami bowled like
150.
Yeah, could bowl 150, mid 140s to 150. Like he bowled fast, like hitting punter in the cheek, and he turns around, he shakes his head, he spits out a bit of blood, and then he just like fixes up the cap, and then just faces back up, like, and just goes for it. Like little things like you got playing with him, he had go into silly mid off without a helmet on, and like cop one in the face oval. At the oval, and just like, and I'm not saying they have to be all tough things, but like even but he just led by example with whatever he did, and same as Had said in the nets. I've just dropped the bloke, but I'm going to be the one. No one else has to go and face him. I'll go and face him. Like he just led by example, and I think the same as when he was out in the middle with the bat in hand. If the situation needed him to dig in, he dug in. If he needed to attack, he attacked. He just took the game on, and he just fired you up, and you just wanted to get on the back of that and go with him.
Yeah, that 13-14 series we speak about a lot on this show. Obviously, great memories. What made it so special for you, that 5-0 whitewash?
I think for 5-0 is I think being, like I said, going right back to that 6-7 series and seeing the boys do it that series, but then just being there for that one test match around the group. Well, that would have been the fourth test. Obviously Warney got his 700th. Was that Roy's first 100?
Yeah.
He made a 150 as well, didn't
Haydos.
he? Yeah, Haydos.
Heads.
That's right. They did the big thing. So like just little moments like that, and just seeing the joy in the rooms and thinking, geez, I'd love to just play Test cricket, but seeing that vibe of that group. Mitchell Johnson, was 12th man that whole series. Well, it was the same side pretty much, wasn't it? I think,
Maybe one change.
Yeah. So
Marto was out.
Yep. So only to see that, and then to play a few test series and not have the success that Australia had probably previously had. So to then to be able to do that, and just the momentum we had, and then we went through the series. We did not change.
No.
It was the same 11 that whole series. Mitchell Johnson was doing his thing, it was unbelievable. The batters were doing theirs. It was just when you want everything to go right, which very rarely happens consistently. It happened. 5 tests is a long time, but to be able to do it for 5 tests every day, was just a remarkable series, and unbelievable to be a part of.
The interesting thing I found about that series, Mitch did his thing, but Sidds did his job, Rhino did his, but we're all so at a stage in our careers where we'd been number one now and then at times you'd chopped and changed with South Africa, but we needed to dominate as a group in Ashes series. We're disappointed that the previous one in the UK, we probably should have won that. It was a bit of a change in the guard. Buffer come in, had a disrupted start, but it was probably the senior players, all of us said, you know what? We've got to win one of these flipping things. And the way we did it, everyone played a role. Everyone did what they had to do under pressure. We had a great time off the field. And as we spoke to Gaza the other day, we sung the song in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And the Quicks had a great time. You had, as I said, you had Jono, you had Sidds. You took the piss out of Rhino the whole time because he's limping in. But it was just a good group. And not that we deserved it, but we needed to dominate a series. And we did.
And I think that's exactly right. I think that group, other than, probably take out Pup, who had the success against England for an extended period of time with the unbelievable Aussie side, a lot of us hadn't. So there's a core group of us that were we needed it because that's what we live for. We wanted to play Ashes series cricket. We copped a couple of series with it. Even 09, we dominated so much of that. We should have won So we'd been so close away, and then 10-11 was a disaster for us. That was one of the great ones. So we had a core group of guys that had played a lot of cricket. Now we needed to not prove something, but we needed to have some success in an Ashes series, and it meant a lot to us. And I think Mitch was obviously the big standout, but everyone's numbers were still really good. Throughout that series. You mightn't have had the weight of numbers but your averages and the roles that everyone played. Like Had said, there was times when Mitch didn't get the wickets. There wasn't many, but someone else stood up and did it then and there and had the same success. It was the same result.
Yeah. I reckon all of you took at least 20 wickets. So Mitch took 37 and you, Rhino and Gaz took 20 each. So you were all playing your part, which in itself is remarkable. And your job was just to get Kevin Peterson out.
He did.
Just did it all the time.
Yeah. Kevin Peterson, Matt Pryor. That's all I had to do. I'll get those two. You just look after the rest, boys.
When I did the Google, it popped up the first test, and Mitch, announces himself, and the sledging between Jimmy and George. And when Jimmy does get dismissed, the camera's on the huddle, and there's Sidds. Rah, 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 just absolutely spraying Jimmy. I've never seen. Is that the biggest spray you've given a batter as they've left the field? Because you were animated.
Probably. I think I end up being the bloke that he got out the most in Test cricket. I think he got me out a lot, but that doesn't say much. I'm a tail ender. Come on, mate. Kevin Peterson, Matt Pryor were mine. They're pretty good players. So.
10 times. Yeah.
But no, I think over the years, he'd given us all sprays. He sprayed everyone from 1 to 11.
Yeah.
Didn't matter who you were. But the thing was, you could never understand him.
I couldn't understand him.
He's from up north.
Yeah.
That Scouse sort of accent. You can't understand it. So it didn't matter what he said to us. But it wasn't until after that when, everyone finds out, how he was into George. That's how confident, he was going at George in a bat pad. So he was going, then obviously, Pup goes at him with the broken arm chat. But to his credit, he goes back. He didn't deny it. He kept going, and and I think it was probably all those years building up. We wanted to get off to a good start. Mitch had destroyed him. We destroyed him. It's Ashes series, the hype. We've won. I think it all boiled down to that, and It was payback, and I think that was the start of it, wasn't it? Once we destroyed him in that first one, yeah, they saw a different Mitch. I think we all did. We didn't have to face it, but we saw it from in the field that we there's something special going to happen here, and as we all know, it turned out to be a very special series.
It was obviously a special series with the result, but England aimed up at it. Everyone come together at the end and had a beer. They spent hours, and Anderson, everyone. Come together at the end of the Test match. Ashes series are brutal. They have been for some time. I remember Haydos saying, "Mate, you play a lot of Test cricket. Every cap's important, but if you don't win an Ashes series, mate, you haven't lived."
Yeah,
and that's the stage we were at. We're thinking, we better win an Ashes series here.
Yeah. And it was, and that's the thing about Test cricket. I know, like everyone talks about the sledging and the banter and stuff like that. There's a lot of emotion goes into it, so things flow out and they see what it is and all that. But like the times after games, we've never had any trouble going in after a series and having a beer, even if it's not a beer, just sitting down having a chat, like long series, tired. You just sit down and you actually do chat. You talk.
You do.
You talk a little bit of shit. You have a little bit of back and forth, and they're tough series. So to be able to do that, and like Had said, I've been lucky enough with playing over in England to now, I've played cricket. I've played cricket alongside Broady, around Anderson, Cook, those guys, and I've got good relationships with even Stokesy now. I played with him at Durham recently. Like I've got really good relationships with those guys, and as many times we've battled with them on the field, they're actually
same as us.
They're good. Yeah, they're exactly the same, and they're good people to chat to, and we just love winning. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Can I tell one Sidds story? 2013, it was my first overseas tour with Cricket Australia back in the day, and first test, Nottingham. Obviously, turned out to be one of the great test matches. There's all that pomp and ceremony before the first test of an Ashes series, particularly over there in England. And I'm there ready to do taking some social media pictures. And the teams are lining up, waiting to go out for the anthems. And I'm like getting the jelly beans are jumping. It was like exciting for me to be there. I'm on the ground, right? I'm right next to the guys and everything. And I look over, and I've got my phone. I look over, Sidds looks at me, just gives me this wink. And I just go, this is on. And you went and took 5 wickets.
Yeah.
On the first day of the test match. And I remember that series because you were there. We were talking about the A series not long ago. You were the senior bowler on that team and that squad, and you had a presence about yourself then. I felt like a lot of the young guys really looked up to you, like Chad Sayers and these guys coming through, and it was P City, and I just remember you give me that wink. I'm thinking this guy's really confident. On. Yeah, you got Peterson again. I think you took the first wicket of the game, got Pfeiffer, and then what a test match that turned out to be. So I just remember thinking, this guy's he's got the swagger. You got the swagger. Did that come naturally, or was that just a thing that developed over time with experience?
I think it was I just loved the contest. Like I've said, I just bloody loved winning. I know everyone does, but like I don't lose anything. Yeah. Like I hate losing. Like we play cards, we play at the Vicks, we play a little volleyball game in warm up. Like I just hate losing, and I think that's where it just come from there. Like. As a youngster, I just wanted to bowl fast and win. Yeah. So I've always been very confident. I was never the most skillful, but I was confident in my own ability and developed a lot more skills as I grew as a player. But yeah, I just wanted to win, and I think that's where it come from. It's just win, have fun, and celebrate.
Yeah. And if you look back on everything, we can go through your stats, the stand you have in the game with your peers. You happy with it all?
Oh. 100%. I would have been happy with finishing up when I finished up playing Test cricket.
Yeah.
I think, was that 5 years ago now, 6 years ago? I was content with that. I could have been done and dusted, but I think the enjoyment that I have, I've probably I had a lot of fun early in my career and throughout my Test career.
Yeah.
But from nearly a playing point of view, I've had just as much fun, if not more, since then. Out in the field, and I think it just comes from just those experiences now that I get to play alongside these young guys and see them growing as players, and just be able to be that Binger that was for me, or Stuart Clark, or Mick Lewis and Shane Harwood in my early days, that I can be that type of guy to play alongside them and just help them a little bit, and I've bloody loved it. And I think, and I would have been the first. I know there's always people saying, what are you still doing playing at that age? You should have retired and all that. And if my numbers were no good over those remaining years, I would have been the first to walk. No one would have had to tell me. Like, if they would have wanted to keep picking me, I would have been up to the coach and saying, like, I'm done. Like, I can't keep playing like this. You've got to pick someone else. So I would have been the first to do that. And I always feel that, and it's always spoken about this, you can't just give guys caps as well.
No.
Yeah.
It's all well and good for the next generation to come along, but they've got to earn it as well. And if my numbers weren't up to it, then that's fine. But yeah, so that's how it's been. And I've been lucky enough that I've been able to hang on and do well enough to be able to do that. But hopefully by doing that and passing on my knowledge and pushing these guys that little bit more by them wanting to take my spot, that just makes them that little bit better. I'll be very content in 6 months' time when I pull the pin and see these guys come up, like playing alongside Fergus O'Neill and Mitch Perry now. It's some of the biggest buzz that I've got.
Yeah.
As much as I love playing alongside Scotty Boland and Jacko Bird down in Tassie, like my good mates, to play alongside these young boys. I was lucky enough in England. I've played alongside Sam Cook and Jamie Porter.
Yeah.
Haven't played for England, but take shitloads of wickets. It's bloody enjoyable to see these guys grow and work with them. So yeah, I'm loving seeing them do what they've done over the last couple of years, and hopefully play a couple of games alongside them this year, and just see them do it again. But yeah, it's exciting to see, and yeah, looking forward to then when I finish watching them. Yeah, get to the level that they want to get to, and it might not be Australia. That's fine, but if it's only dominating state cricket and taking loads of wickets, then that's a bloody good as well. So yeah, fingers crossed they go well.
Well, Sidds, I feel like we could talk for hours here, mate. But looking at your numbers now, they're bloody awesome. So thank you so much for coming in. It's been very, very enjoyable hour and a bit. And like I said, you were one of the most requested guests to come on Willow Talk. So we've ticked that one. It was great. And mate, we'd love to have you back on at some point.
Yeah, I'll have to pop back up. It's always good to
Definitely
be alongside this fella.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky we got out of it while we did. We need to cut right now.
Sidds, mate, really appreciate it.
We might need to do an after hours.
Oh.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.